All right, thank you for joining us on another episode of the Catch 32 podcast. I am your host, Avery Pelwecki. Joining me to my left is the great Hayden May, and we are here to react to some Sunday football where I'm a Jonathan Taylor fantasy owner, and I just watched Trey Burton run it in for a 1-yard touchdown, so that's an accurate representation of how my day is going. However, to my left here, Hayden has a Tennessee stack of Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown, and he's enjoying a Steelers W right now, 17-0 over the Browns. How are we feeling?
Feeling great, They're whooping the Browns. The Browns haven't come into Heinz Field and won since Big Ben was in college and Chase Claypool was in diapers. The 7-Eleven connection is always open, as they already said on social media, so it's looking good. Titans are really rolling right now, getting a little bit worried about them getting too comfortable and just riding with Derrick Henry, but I think everything's looking good.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this, you've probably already listened to our debut episode, and so you kind of know a little bit more about us and kind of just how some sports pain has really affected us to this point. But right now, the goal of what we're doing is live reacting to these 1 o'clock games. It's about 2 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time, and we have some surprises. We have Denver Broncos seemingly handling the New England Patriots, which was not something that I think any of us really expected with Cam back. Kirk Cousins maybe on the hot seat a little bit, and Indy is just getting bitch slapped by the Bengals, which is another surprising one. What are your thoughts to this point on the 1 o'clocks?
1 o'clock games have been pretty good so far. A lot of really solid, close games going on. One that I was a little disappointed in was I was hoping Philadelphia could give the Baltimore Ravens a little bit more of a. We just got a pick on Baker for second
Baker
of the
Mayfield
day.
throws another pick. I think that'll be a topic in the coming weeks of, if you were the Cleveland Browns, do you move off of this man?
Just threw a pick to one of our second
I think
and
you
third
do.
string corners.
I think you do.
A nickel. You got to have the conversation at this point. It's been, 3 years now of just kind of underwhelming years?
There was promise in his rookie year.
Yeah.
About 27 touchdowns, I think, was the number, and the Browns were, 7-8-1 maybe?
Yeah, and probably kicked themselves a little bit for holding him out as long as
he looked
did,
solid.
But I don't know. I feel like it's just a team that is one of those that looks really, really good on paper, and the chemistry and everything on field just doesn't mesh.
Kevin Stefanski is a pretty good coach. I think he was the right guy. And now, you're looking at Greg Williams, Freddie Kitchens. It actually started with Hugh Jackson, so this is going to be coach number 4. I don't know what more you could ask for if you're Baker. And obviously they got him the 2 left tackles with Wirfs and Conklin. Or no, they got Jedrick Wills and Conklin. So, it's there. And he's just not making it happen, so.
There comes a point in time where you just start asking yourself, okay, is this our guy? Is he making plays enough to carry our franchise, or do we need to start looking for some other route? And there's a lot of really good guys that are kind of stuck in places and maybe backups that could probably get worked out. I know everybody's always going to wonder, what the heck Josh Rosen's ever going to do. Maybe they can take a look into bringing him in and seeing if he can be relevant.
That's an interesting take. They were in the same draft class. Josh Rosen actually made that video, or it was this interview after being drafted about how he's going to make the 9 teams that passed on him pay, and the Browns were one of those teams. They were one of those teams twice because the Browns had the 1st and the 4th pick.
Yeah, where they took
so that's
Baker
interesting.
and
Josh Rosen he's on Tampa's practice squad. He's learning from the GOAT.
He's a guy that's never really gotten a fair shake. He was in probably the worst possible situation in Arizona where everybody pretty knew it was either Super Bowl or a completely winless season, and they were pretty damn close to a winless season. They end up getting Kyler, which worked out for them, but Josh Rosen's just been passed around. Goes to Miami, gets outshined by Ryan Fitzpatrick and Tannehill, gets dropped by the Dolphins, and just kind of floats around until he ends up behind Tom Brady. So, I don't know. It's a guy that they could look into. Obviously, there's another couple guys that are probably going to end up free agents. I don't think Trubisky's going anywhere. He probably will be a backup, but he's somebody you could at least take a look at.
Yeah, we'll talk about Trubisky a little bit.
Obviously, I think
see a
Tyrod
future
Taylor is going to
there
be
with him.
available. I think Herbert's outshined him pretty easily, and he's obviously already been with the Browns, so there's always a chance that he could just come back.
Whew.
Really missed that free play right there with Claypool. It would have been nice.
Yeah, on a 40-yard bomb down the field. And we're also on our other TV, we have Baltimore and Philly going. It's just been a head-scratching game to this point. I mean, it's just one of those games where Baltimore, they've had these games the last few weeks against the Bengals and Washington, where they haven't necessarily looked impressive, but they've dominated the score, and they're handling them. When you're a Hollywood Brown fantasy owner, I know right now is a little frustrating, so hopefully we can get something on this play. But we'll...
I think the other thing to take away from the Ravens, too, is their level of competition they've faced is not exactly wonderful.
Not great.
And I feel like the defense is strong enough to make up for some of those offensive woes they're going through at the early start of the season. I mean, there's been weeks where the first three quarters, it's Lamar Jackson seemingly figured out by their defense. And then fourth
Adam
quarter,
Humphries,
they just
22-yard reception just in. More Ryan Tannehill action.
We love that.
For you, Mr. May.
We love that. Rolling out of the Matt Ryan torture chamber.
There will be a debate. We obviously have two other hosts on this podcast that are not with us right now, but there will be an AFC North
Chase Claypool
debate, I think. Is Baltimore fraudulent? I think the Browns are kind of showing their true colors right now, and I mean, Baker Mayfield is kind of the weak spot.
Definitely the weak spot. And
Definitely
then,
the weak spot.
mean, the other thing you got to remember, too, is that defense is just torn apart with injuries.
JK's running.
Really good run.
JK's looking nice. Atlanta, will they blow the lead? They're up 10-0 on Minnesota.
Yeah,
I bet a lot of people think Alexander Madison was going to have a better day, but that has not been the case so far.
Also on Hayden's fantasy team, not been too well. Yeah, I think the AFC North conversation will figure itself out when the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Ravens.
Lamar's career has not been great against Pittsburgh.
He hasn't. They had some good luck last year. A couple of really good showings by Lamar Jackson and a really, really shitty offense by Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't think the name Duck Hodges really scares anybody on that Baltimore defense. It actually scares me just thinking about him being our starter. So, yeah. And you can't really count last year. So, I think this year will be the true test.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I will say when Baltimore, beautiful throw.
James Washington touchdown wide open.
Wide open.
Been a lot of questions on him. Good to see him back.
All right, we're going to be tuning into the Detroit game now that Pittsburgh is.
Now that the Browns are dead in the water, we're going to switch to something a little different. Something a little bit, maybe a better game. Sorry, Browns fans.
Sorry, Browns fans. Actually, are we sorry for fans of teams located in the state of Ohio? I mean, it's...
No, not really. I mean, as you would have heard in the first episode, the two
you guys
people
like
here
put the
right
victim
now are
card an
Michigan
awful
fans.
lot. Ohio versus the world.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that.
You're talking to two Michigan, or listening to two Michigan fans, so you're not going to get much sympathy from us. The other two guys you may be able to win over, but...
what is going on here? Marvin Jones, he's down. He's down. That's not a fumble. Man, but Denver up 9-3 on New England. That is a surprising one, but Drew Lock is back, I believe.
He is
3rd
back.
and 6. Come on, Matt.
Having a pretty pedestrian game. I haven't seen his stats yet, but when I checked him before, it was like
2-minute warning.
Yards.
Yeah, as a Stafford Galladay fantasy duo owner, it's going to be a big play coming up after the 2-minute warning. Oh man, Matt Patricia.
And while we were away, we have a Calvin Ridley 8-yard touchdown, also phenomenal for Hayden's fantasy team. We're now rolling.
Tennessee, maybe? Tennessee, Houston?
Yeah, we can go Tennessee. Just more on the Drew Lock stat line. So far today, he's 6 of 13 with 114 yards. Doesn't really have much help on offense. Obviously, Melvin Gordon out sick. Sutton
Sometimes
out
against New England, it's about what you can ask for, though.
Yeah, I mean, he's managing the game well. He's getting them in field goal range. So they've scored on 3 field goals. McManus is converted. So his leading receiver is a wide receiver named Patrick. I'm not really sure.
Tim Patrick?
Sure. So Tim Patrick's got 58 yards, and other than that, nobody else has really shown up for them. Philip Lindsay's having a pretty good day. Royce Freeman's made an appearance. So, and then on the other side, Cam's just kind of looking not great. 9 of 11 for 100 yards and a pick. And
Yeah.
Got 5 rushes for 15 yards.
Yeah, that's
Seems
surprising.
he's
I actually thought that
pressure.
last Monday they could have beaten Kansas City if Cam was playing because Brian Hoyer was refusing to do smart things, particularly in the red zone, and there was that one Jarrett Stidham interception where Edelman, it bounced off his hands, Kansas City took it the other way.
Yeah.
About as
That
free
ended
as
up being a
it
pick
gets.
6, wasn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, not great, but we'll continue to react to these live in the moment. I think in the future you might see some some frustrations being vented. That usually tends to happen.
Oh, big time.
And man, Indianapolis, this is a head scratcher again. It's
The one we just flipped to, yeah.
I've always been a Frank Reich guy. I think he's a really good coach. But there's some questions that I have at this moment in time.
Yeah, especially after the game we just flipped to went to commercial. The Bengals just hit a 47-yard field goal to go up 24-7 on the Colts. Big old Randy Bullock with a 47-yard nuke.
Fat Randy
some good Fat Randy. We love some good Fat Randy.
We love some Fat Randy here. There's a lot of time left in that game, though. Every single game's about going to halftime, but there's still some time in that one.
Definitely some time. That one's a game that could go either way, depending on if the Colts kind of start firing all cylinders.
Right now is one of those stretches where there's like a lot of fantasy things that are happening. So the Colts are getting the ball. I have Taylor. Here comes the Lions play on 3rd and 6. Come on, guys. Come on. I need a Galladay.
Fresh out of the 2-minute warning. Let's see what they get here. So
He's going in motion.
Back and right through the hands of Kerryon Johnson. Not that it was going anywhere anyway.
Not a fan of that play.
Not a great play call if you're a Lions fan. Not what you want to see coming out of the 2-minute warning.
We'll go up 17-3. Kind of underwhelming.
Definitely not what you want to see against a 1-4 Jacksonville team.
They're winning. They're winning the game, so we can't.
True, but not what you want to see against the bottom of the league defense like Jacksonville this year.
So yeah, as I was saying earlier, obviously the first swing did not go my way. Where there's just so much fantasy going on surrounding you, and maybe it can be a little overwhelming sometimes. I don't know. So I had the Lions with Stafford and Galladay. The Colts are on offense now with JT. And the Texans are in a 2-minute offense with one Mr. Will Fuller. So we're going to see what happens here. We're actually going to wrap this one up. This is our first go-around, so I hope you guys like it. Will Fuller, 15-ish yard grab. We'll take it. At this point, we'll take just about anything we can get. But, yeah. We'll wrap this one up here. We had fun. We're going to continue to have fun. And, yeah.
We wish all of your fantasy teams good luck, and all of your teams, except for the Cleveland Browns, good luck.
Oh, he might be going to Fuller again. He might be. He's scrambling.
Absolute bomb. Was going for Fuller, but thrown out of bounds. Just kind of had to get her away and give the guy a chance.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll be back doing these. We thank you guys for tuning in, and yeah, we'll kind of sign off from here. So have a good one.